You were talking to me about, Don, what if you would have bought the installment secured by the beneficial interest? Like, I'm not buying a note that's secured by the property. I'm not buying the beneficial interest necessarily, but I'm buying that installment contract that you sold to him on. Like, if you weren't happy getting your $800 a month or whatever it was, you said, Don, give me 30 grand or whatever the deal is, and you can buy it. And then if he defaults, then you get his beneficial interest. You can take over his position in the property. Is that right?
Well, I mean, there are a couple of ways of looking at this. If I had sold you my contract, then you would have stepped into my
Right,
position.
right.
And if the buyer defaulted, you'd do the same thing I did, and that's just repossess. So from a note buyer standpoint, you're much better with a transaction involving a land trust
So
and
then
not
if I would buy you
maybe.
out in that scenario, I would have just purchased your beneficial interest in that trust, which was, on assignment subject to performance of the guy, right? So it would be like a
Well, not,
contract for
well,
deed in
not,
a way where I would just get deeded the property, or at least control of the property.
well, you would have an assignment of the contract to purchase. See, the buyer gave me a contract to purchase, and he agreed to make payments, and the default provisions and everything are in that contract to purchase the beneficial interest. If I sold you that contract and I would assign you my contract, you'd step into my position, collect the payments, and be
Right,
where
but
I was.
you had a beneficial interest in the trust subject to his performance. So you'd
Right,
also assign that to
right.
me, I would assume as well, because that's the real control.
That is the control, and of course that would be subject to the assignment to him because I would have given an assignment
Right,
on him.
yeah,
You see what I
right.
mean?
It's
But
it seems like it's the same as buying a land contract or something. Contract for.
it's very, very similar, just a lot better when things go
Right,
south.
and people have asked me, if I use a land trust and do this beneficial interest thing, they're worried that there's no secondary market if they need to cash out. And in general, that's true because there's not a huge market for buying beneficial interest in trust the same way there's the huge developed market for notes, for instance. And so,
Yeah,
but it's not
yeah.
impossible. I mean, if I get brought in and I'm structuring the deal from the beginning and I put all the due diligence together, I'm sure I would take a look at that. Or if I knew you put it together, and you know what you're doing.
Well, and really, once you get to looking at it, you're going to realize that you're more secure in that structure than you are in a structure outside the trust, and it makes your business better,
Yeah,
not worse.
absolutely. So it's just a learning curve for everyone, just to add more tools to the toolbox. So that was a really great story. And when we are doing our classes and talking about deals, I'm sure I'm going to learn. The light bulb's going to go on for me. It doesn't look like I have much of here to go on today, but I'm sure something will happen where I'll get another idea of how I can implement this because it keeps growing and changing every day as I have new conversations with people. So thanks for sharing that, Randy. I hope you have a great weekend. I think that we'll call it good for today, and we'll see you next time.